This is Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Subscribe for new content notifications. Now, here's Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow me on Twitter at BackupBradleyAbove at the top of the screen and everything that we're talking about here today. Let's go ahead and get started with the numbers this morning. And it's sitting right at about 24 cents. So let's take a look at it. Right now, Bitcoin is 11,506.46. Ethereum is $376.87 and XRP is 24 cents. Drilling down on the number 0.2471, we're looking at a market cap of 11.1 billion, almost 11.2 billion this morning. We're up 2.2% on the 24-hour at 1.2 billion plus, and the total circulating supply, which came up again thanks to hiding out now for catching that one, we are now at 45,248,000,000 plus. Those are your numbers, guys. Make sure you check out all the links in the description and the comment box for anything you may want or need. They're trusted links, and they are all products or services that I use. I don't sell or offer anything that I don't use myself. Let's get into this, the Great Reset. If you haven't seen my video, New Bretton Woods, go into the playlist, search that video, watch that video. There's so much compelling information in it. I think today we're going to touch on some more information that supports the whole narrative. And I think also we'll get a look at the same time, how they operate. Who is they? Who is they? What I'm talking about is the international elite that really is connected through the G20, the IMF, and all the respective agencies thereof. So the Financial Stability Board, right, the FATF, and the OECD, and all these different organizations and regulatory agencies that really are connected to that international elite level. And then we start seeing the narrative created, the World Economic Forum, right, the Great Reset. But I think we'll get a look, too, in a little bit how it's pitched, how the sales pitches to us versus what actually has been going on. So let's go ahead and get into that and see if we can't drill down on it here. First, we start with Michael Val 5 link. Shout out to all the people that send information. Ripple and its South Korean ODL corridor have transferred more than 88 million XRP, while Ripple's ODL partner in Europe was also involved. I feel like I see this stuff moving around and then just preparing for a much larger demand at some point in the future. I really do feel like that's the narrative. And let's go ahead and keep this moving here because I want to move to this next piece of news. This was really interesting. I had a couple people send this to me in DMs and shout out to them. And Stephen Bull Deep put this up too. XRP will be global reserve currency, viewer tells conspiracy theorist Alex Jones here. So this is interesting to me because from the DMs that were sent to me, not only did the caller that called into that show apparently talk about XRP being a global reserve currency, they also said that everybody needs to follow the digital asset investor. And I just thought that was really great to have one of our own kind of shout it out on another channel and another huge platform like that, you know. So shout out to digital asset investor and shout out to XRP that seems to be making its way into other areas, because I know that that's more conspiracy, you know, right-wing political stuff. So, but nevertheless, I mean, I think it's great anytime XRP can make its way into another venue. So keep an eye out for that or go check that out. And let's see, Michael Val 5 links. About time, Bitstamp, one of the world's largest cryptocurrency exchanges, has introduced new insurance policy that covers the theft of and other losses of user funds held on its platform. Let me stand up and slow clap this right here, right? Yeah, about time is right. No doubt. Look, I mean, you know, I think we all understand what this market's going to do long term. Now, when does long term really begin? Because we're still at 24 cents with XRP, right? Just let me sidebar this before I go on about this point here. I believe the price is 24 cents because retail speculation is still driving the market. Now, I know that there is utility in the market for XRP. But generally speaking, if we're going to see the price action that I believe XRP can have, whether it's, $10, $100, $1,000, $2,000, $10,000. And I think ultimately XRP can go to $10,000 or more. I really do personally believe that myself. Now, I think that if it does that, it's because all the largest banks and financial institutions, SMEs around the world have committed to use the asset back end for settlement, whether it's all the derivatives market or cross-border payments, which can encompass quite a few things, to be honest with you. So I think until we see that moment happen, it's going to be about 24 cents, fluctuating and give or take, right? So, but utility to me has to take over and be the price driver. And until it does, we're going to be at a lower price because that's where speculation is until they see the utility move in. So that's a whole thing that's happening there. And I think with the international narrative that's been really put into place here and what we're seeing out of the U.S. at this point, I think we're not far away from the kind of decision making from all of those respective agencies and departments around the world that we've talked about so many times before they give the clarity, classification, designation, whichever way you'd like to say it, to XRP, as well as the tax implications for that and all the other cryptos on an international level. I think we'll really be in our place where we will see it take off. So, okay, and this, going back to this Bitstamp point here, yes, about time, right? Because we need these exchanges to really look. I understand that, crypto and all of this stuff has many advantages because of the innovation in tech. But in this regard, we need this new market to have some of these traditional looks. It needs to have insurance. It needs to have this ability to cover your consumer protection rights, right? And if it doesn't, it really hasn't grown up yet. I don't want my experience to feel much different than it does when I'm on Fidelity buying stocks, okay? I want it to be a smooth, safe, ubiquitous experience. I never have to think about something going wrong when I buy stocks on Fidelity, right? So, I want that in that particular regard. I want that to feel the same here for my consumer protection side. So that is a high sign to me moving forward here. Max Kaiser, the financial crisis was guaranteed to happen with or without the pandemic. Well said, Max Kaiser. But the response from world bankers will make the financial crisis far worse and conveniently be blamed on the pandemic. Max is absolutely spot on here. Now, I know he's a Bitcoin guy, but the reality is that this has been the narrative. And this is what I've been talking about a lot on this channel for over a year. We've been talking about, especially with co-host Cryptopolis on the show, about the liquidity crisis in the repo market, which doesn't even report the numbers of the shortfall anymore. It's so bad. The reality is that we've been reporting about a global liquidity crisis for over a year. Over a year. Well over a year. The funny thing is that everything now, because of the pandemic, has been blamed on the pandemic. And now they're suggesting, we will have a global crisis and it'll be blamed on that. And that's exactly the narrative to me that's being pushed. And, if you had been following, what's going on in the economy before the pandemic happened, and believe me, I know that the pandemic, I know that the virus is real. It's very real. I had an uncle that had it, and thank God he's okay. Thank God he's okay now. But the reality is they can use this for cover. For cover. Cover of what, Brad? What are they using it for cover for? Well, cover for the reason that we're back into another hole after we just came out of the hole of the Great Recession, right? Because the hedge funds and all of those got bailed out back in 2008, right? But who bailed them out? The central banks. Well, who's in trouble now? The central banks. Well, then who's going to bail them out? No one. So now we have to have a reason to blame it on. We certainly can't go to the front of the class and tell them it's our fault, right? Yeah, that's not in the cards. So the reality is that this is where I see an asset like XRP really excelling, because it is an asset that brings utility to the new financial market infrastructure, which Ripple has been playing the long game to set up around the world with the largest entities, whether it's banks, financial institutions, or payment providers, or small, medium enterprises. So this, to me, is the narrative that they're about to start selling here, and put a bow on it, because this is what it's going to be. You're not going to hear them talk about the shortfall that they had before any of this was a situation. So moving on, building out here, the Bank of England should create a BitPound digital currency. You don't say. Well, when I drill down into this, obviously it talks about all the central banks preparing to really make their own digital currency. And what I wanted to highlight out of this, because I'm breathe a sigh of relief, I'm not going to read it all to you, but I want to go to here and play out the strengths section here. And it says, finally, we should use the strength of the city, a new digital currency. In regards to the UK, it's talking about here, Bank of England. A new digital currency will only be relevant insofar as you can actually use it. London has the huge advantage of being one of the biggest centers in the world for trading currencies. London has 43% of the global market for money trading, compared to 16% for New York, its closest rival. And it has the infrastructure of legal systems, traders, and consultants to support the industry. If trading in BitPounds, as they refer to it, was legally established from day one in the UK, and if even better, we threw in a minor tax break or two, listen to this, and threw in a minor tax break or two, then it would help launch the currency and steal a march on its rival. This sounds exactly like how they'll get you to use a central bank digital currency. If we throw in a minor tax break or two to turn into paper dollars and accept the digital ones on a digital wallet, everyone's going to flock to the digital currency that's offered. This is what we're talking about, and this is exactly how they'll get it done. And they know they'll get it done in short order when you throw in some tax breaks. There's a big prize at stake, and the UK should be trying to win it. If a BitPound established itself the world's preeminent electronic currency, then it would be a huge boost, both for our technology and financial services industry, two key sectors for the British economy over the next decade. Will have to move fast. Now, what I love about this is, first of all, I love finding out that London has 43% of the global market for money trading. I think that is a fantastic number, and it's very exciting to learn that. Number two, the other thing about this is that I think the minor tax break or two is exactly what you're going to see when you see all these CBDCs rolled out in different countries, to really, really incentivize the consumer and the citizen to begin to move to it. And it will happen quickly if they do this. All right. Now, the other thing here that I see out of this whole thing is that there's another hat in the ring. We know China's made it very clear that they're out front of everybody so far with the testing and piloting and using it at gas stations and lotteries and all these other different areas. They've already started to put the CBDC to work in China. Now you see another hat thrown in the ring, and now it is England, right? So this is pretty remarkable to me. I love the pressure that's being put on around the world, and I do not think for a second, regardless of the shortfall of U.S. legislation or regulatory clarity or harmony between the 8 different agencies that have been cited, I think in one way or another we either get a regulatory sandbox or we get the legislation passed that we need. The U.S. is not going to sit back and watch the 4th Industrial Revolution leave it at the starting line. So let's keep this going again. U.S. Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell is speaking today at the IMF annual meeting later today from the 12th through the 18th, but there's a 19th here happening with Jerome Powell, and it is going to be about digital currencies and cross-border payments. Specifically, this is getting interesting. The Great Financial Reset IMF Managing Director calls for a new Bretton Woods moment. I covered this just the late part of last week. Go search and watch that video. In fact, you know what I'm going to do? At the end of this video, I'm going to make sure it's one of those little drop-down suggestion tabs. Make sure you look for that. It'll say New Bretton Woods. Okay, and then moving to the next thing here, falls in line. Check this out. We covered this too about 2 weeks ago, I guess it was. 99% reduction in time to pay out with RippleNet. Cambridge Global Payments announced commercial launch of its partnership with Ripple. The partnership between Ripple and Cambridge will optimize payment delivery using RippleNet that can reduce lag time, are key to tapping growing cross-border SME B2B payments market. Well said. Now, I just want to look, we say this stuff and it gets so casual because we see the news cycle coming through and we're like, oh, wow, that's really great. And then move on to the next thing that's really great. And then I get it and I do it too. But every once in a while, you just got to stop and ask yourself, if you were a business and you had someone come in and say to you, hey, I know you're competing with the guy across the street, but guess what? If you sign on to our service, you'll be 10% faster. 10%. Imagine that. 20% faster. You're thinking, wow, 20% faster. I could put that on the sign out front. People lining up in here. I can save 20%, be 20% faster and get all this difference of savings and time and pitch this to my ultimate customer base, you know. Now imagine for a second if you could actually put on the sign out in front of your business that you're now 99% faster in getting your payments done than anybody else. 99% reduction in your time to pay out. Are you kidding me? This number is so phenomenal. Businesses are going to, if they're not already on it and we don't know because of NDAs, they're going to go so hard into this, it's going to make your head spin. Because any business is looking for that edge. What can I do to make my business more streamlined back end, for one? And number two, that I could actually give the advantage to my customer. Are you kidding me? And this is all being offered and discovered, by the way, right? This is all being discovered and offered in the middle of these enormous entities like the World Economic Forum and the IMF chanting and pounding the ground about a global reset, and all of the central banks of the world are creating their own digital currency. You tell me, we'll both know. Here's another interesting fact. This came from Brown Crypto Kid. October 17th, the XRP Ledger asset statistics. Now, brace yourself, buckle up now. USD volume per second was 100 billion. Probably nothing. Yeah, take a look at it. I mean, look at the spike here. Up to 100 billion on that day. That is just outstanding. Was that a test? Was it a glitch? I happen to think maybe they were testing something that day. I mean, when you think about the enormity of all these central banks and, you know, all the derivatives market, what is the mantra? This isn't this YouTuber's mantra. This is the mantra from Ripple. All the money. All the money. That's the mantra, right? So with me, what I see is I see a potential that this could possibly be a test that we saw happen, just like we've seen in other cases. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe it was a glitch, but I'll tell you this. With everything that I'm seeing with the fundamental news, it would make sense to me that this could potentially be a test that was taking place. Now, that to me would be pretty exciting. And I'll say this. I believe with the fundamental news, I don't believe we're very far from the world getting what it needs to where it will use XRP. And I believe that the U.S. has already been preparing for that moment because we know that there was an executive order from 2017. We know that the OCC has clearly come out and started to open the door for digital currencies and stable coins. And he's clearly said, Brian Brooks, And we're going to bring the stable coins and the regulatory framework together, as he said, and we can walk to the front of the line and be the leader in this fourth industrial revolution. All right, that's going to do it for me. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe, leave a comment below, and share with somebody you know. And if you haven't done it, get on that newsletter. I will be putting out another newsletter very soon. And check this out. Wednesday, sign up for this. Go to link to sign up for this. Get the app for free. Sign up, register with the community. October 21st, 12 to 1 on Pacific time. Miguel Villas and myself will be discussing metals, crypto, and fintech for a lunch and learn. That is going to be a lot of fun. Don't miss it, everybody. I will catch all of you on the next one. Take care.